Yo, 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 it's your bruh True Jew here. Yeah, y'all read the title of that video, right? Is JayZ really Hebrew Hov? All right, so why am I speaking on this? First of all, I love JayZ. I always have. I'm from the Bay Area, so I remember back in the day when he was at his pinnacle, at his peak. I was probably the only brother out there slapping JayZ music. Everybody be like, man, bro, why you listening to JayZ and this and that? I'll be like, man, y'all don't hear what I'm hearing? JayZ is tight, right? Hard not life for us. It's a hard not life for us. You feel me? So all them songs right there, they really left an imprint on me. And I remember as JayZ began to transcend into his career, he began calling himself Hova. And I graduated high school in 2003, and that's when he released the Black Album. And that was to me, one of his greatest albums. And it really had an influence on me as a songwriter, as a musician, as a recording artist. It really did. I'm not even going to front. That was a part of my life where I really appreciated the content he put out. So this ain't a knock on bruh. I just want to get to the bottom of something that's been on my heart for years that I'm finally talking about now. So when he released that Black Album, there was a moment when he went on tour. He was talking about retirement. He was talking about leaving the game, and really stepping away from rap for a minute. And I know in life, sometimes we have to recharge ourselves because we do so much in a certain space. And so when he released the Black Album around that time, he began calling himself Hov and Hova. And me being how I was raised in the church at first, I was raised in a Baptist setting, and I've definitely grown since then in my spiritual acumen and how I look at things on a religious level. But back then, when he was calling himself Hova, I honestly thought that was a form of Jehovah, like the word Jehovah. We have Jehovah's Witnesses, and Jehovah is supposed to be one version of the Most High, a name of the Most High. So I thought he was calling himself Jehovah, and I wasn't really in tune with who we truly are. In these avatars at the time. And of course, JayZ is older than me. So there's a level of insight that he obviously had back then that I didn't. But I'm glad that my uncomfortability with him calling himself Hova didn't shut me down from him, and didn't shut me down from learning in life. So as I began to grow and I began to study, especially Hebraic language, I began to dig deeper into what Hova or Jehovah actually meant. And one day I opened up my Strong's Concordance, and I literally, y'all, I kid you not, I have this habit of opening a book and then being guided and led straight to the page that I'm supposed to read, right? So I opened this brand new concordance. My mama let me hold her concordance. It was a brand new concordance. I got it. I opened it up, and boom, right when I opened it up, I landed on the word Hova. I landed on Hova. And it's 1943 in the Hebrew section of a Hebrew and Greek concordance. So it's 1943, number 1943 in the Hebrew concordance. And I landed right on that word, Hova, and my mind got blown. I was like, what? This is a real word? Because remember, I thought it was just an offshoot of Jehovah. I didn't know the Hebrew language at that time. So when I saw Hova and I saw it at 1943 in the concordance and I read the definition of it, that's when my mind really got blown. Because the definition of the word Hova means a ruin, mischief, okay? It means disaster, okay? So when I started seeing the definition, the multi definition of the word Hova, I began applying it way back to when I heard JayZ calling himself Hova. And especially when he did the Black Album tour and he was on tour going around talking about retirement. And one thing about that retirement tour was before he stepped on the stage in every city that he went to, he would have thousands and thousands, 80,000, 75,000, all sorts of people in these arenas. And before he stepped on stage, his hype man would step on stage and would ask everybody, pretty much command everybody, all right, before JayZ come out, I'm gonna need y'all to say his name. Now they wouldn't say JayZ, JayZ. The hype man would tell them to say, all right, y'all, I'm gonna need y'all to say Hova, Hova. And I'm gonna need y'all to chant that before JayZ comes out. Y'all gotta lift the energy up in here before JayZ even step out on stage, right? So as I would watch that, I would remember I wasn't knowing about Hova yet in the concordance, but I would feel something in my heart that wasn't so good. Like I would feel uncomfortable with that. I'm not even gonna front. Now I didn't get a chance to make it to any of those shows live, so I would see re-recordings of this, right? And so the fans in the crowd would be chanting Hova, Hova, Hova. And fast forward to when I finally realized what the definition meant. I realized that what they were actually chanting was ruin, disaster, mischief, ruin, mischief, disaster. And all of these people conjuring up this energy didn't realize what they were saying. So when I began to realize that JayZ still to this day calls himself Hov or Hova, I had to ask myself, and now I know more about who I am. I had to ask myself, does JayZ know that he's Hebrew? Does JayZ know that he's using a word that means disaster, mischief, and ruin? And what does the power of the word coming from him in that form actually do to society as a whole? Well, I know rap music has been blamed for a lot of discord in this land. Rap music has been blamed for a lot of the problems and issues in this land. One of the Texas congressmen or senators actually blamed rap music for the recent shootings in the country. He blamed rap music for the reason why we don't need gun control, but we need to control rap and we need to control music and the influence of rap music, right? And to a certain extent, I kind of agree with him because, there's different forms of rap, though. Okay, so the form that's being propagated through the land right now, the form that's being propagated on the radio is a very destructive and disingenuous form of the original intent of the art form of rap. So I kind of agree with that. But there are other forms of rap which are wholesome and righteous and present messages of truth and balance and harmony in that sense as well. But getting back to JayZ, when we say Hova, Hova, and we're chanting it, what we're really saying is ruin, disaster, mischief. So I had to ask, does JayZ know exactly what he's doing when he calls himself Hova and begins to set himself apart in a very prosperous way? But is the trade-off for his prosperity that he had to uh, gather energy and create a form of energy in the land that wasn't so prosperous and more disastrous and mischievous, because we see that he's still considered the top rapper in the whole world. So if he's considered the top rapper in the world, but we see the influence of modern rap and popular rap in society, could we say that he's in a sense to coax and coach that energy along? And in doing so, is the trade off for him calling himself Hova an actual recognition of his true Hebraic roots? In the sense that he's awakened with the Illuminati eye. Now, just because I threw it up, y'all, don't mean that I'm that. But what I'm saying in that sense, but what I'm saying is there are truths in everything that we deal with. And an individual like JayZ, aka Hov, understands and understands the circles he runs with, and he knows what he's doing when he presents what he presents. So that had me question, is JayZ really Hebrew? All right, Hebrew Israelite. And does he understand his Hebrew heritage? And has he chosen to use that heritage in a way that builds up his prosperity and his abundance, but destroys and causes disaster in the communities that he's from? Well, I'm going to leave that to y'all for right now. I presented y'all with some truth, with some facts, and give you something to think about, marinate on. Look, it's your bro, True Jew, hitting you always with the truth, raw and uncut, the best way I know how, right? And it's your brother for life. You know I love you to life. I'm your brother for life. I love you to life. And as always, Most High Mama and Papa willing, I'll be back with another message for y'all real soon. Until then, gone.